So good news, friends. I'm pretty sure I found all of your missing hits from your Fusion Strike packs. The bad news is that they're located in Texas. Or maybe that's good news, because they do have really good food, and I recently learned they have the Venice of America, which I didn't even think would be a thing, but here we are. So shout out to San Antonio, because that sounds pretty dope. Either way, over the weekend, some really breaking news broke, and as a result, it would appear that there is a viral image of stolen Fusion Strike hits that's causing quite a bit of ruckus here in the Pokemon TCG hobby. So in today's video, we're going to discuss it in vivid analytic detail. But before we do, as we always do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about that little known drama that popped up over the weekend. And yeah, I'm just gonna throw some random facts and spitball some stuff at you. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it. So here's a Dextero article. Obviously links to everything in today's video will be down below. Make sure to check those out as you see fit. There is actually some really cool information that you can kind of read up on independently if that's something that you were interested in doing. So yeah, let's jump on into it. So here we've got the Dextero article. Obviously you've got an image. I'm gonna have a bigger image of the image on screen right now. And here is what's causing uproar. Pokemon TCG fans are in arms after a viral post showing hundreds of rare stolen, quote-unquote, Fusion Strike cards are, circulated the community. And it would appear as though a nefarious actor had stolen these cards and was now attempting to sell them to a TCG store in the great state of Texas. And as a result, thankfully, that store decided it would be in their best interest to actually not purchase the cards, but actually report it to the Pokemon Trading Card International. And yeah, some stuff has happened on the back end of that. So that basically summarizes what happened. If we kind of scroll down a little bit, people were socializing this particular photo on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, you name it, all over the place. This was like the weekend's thing to read when you were stuck in traffic and you needed something to kill some time and you're not driving, or if you were on a train or on a plane. Oh boy, there was enough drama here to fill up a good couple YouTube videos, and rest assured YouTube, I will milk this shit for content. Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of what went on. Now, in terms of coverage, obviously your boy Rattle had stuff to say. Opossum Bud had some really cool stuff to say. I do think you should check out their videos after you let this video run to its full runtime, by the way, because I think these guys are really, really good at kind of providing coverage, and they do also provide some really cool insight. Rattle goes really in depth into the possibility of how or maybe if this impacted hits, and Opossum Bud provides some counter arguments to that, which I think are really neat. So definitely some different perspectives on the item. So one thing that does get noted is, did the thief affect Fusion Strike rarity because of the theft? So based on claims from the Texas card shop employees in the boxes the cards were shipped in, it's likely this thief did not impact the number of rare cards distributed. The alleged thief's identity is also still a mystery, so it's hard to say definitely what exactly happened. Still, the card box's number of cards and layout highly suggests the cards came directly from a print facility. Finally, due to the fact that the cards were seized by someone on behalf of TCPI, they were likely disposed of so as to not alter the market value of the cards in the future. So couple really interesting nuggets that I wanted to deep dive into as it specifically relates there. So the first is that Rattle does a separate analysis where he looks at the Pokemon printing card facilities and kind of shows you how these cards get seeded into various packs, and argues that in the same way, there's probably no impact to rarity. So what does that basically mean to the normal person? You're still not going to pull the Gengar or the Espeon because they're just really hard cards to pull, and that's by design. Tough, deal with it. Now, there are a bunch of people who also argue that there was this weird influx, like a random wave, where there were god boxes of Fusion Strike also circulating. And so some people are arguing that, you know, all of this is anecdotal. The Pokemon Company has not confirmed anything one way or the other, and that means that there is a solid chance that, yeah, maybe rarity was impacted, because what if this person was sitting in the assembly line taking out the rare card and putting in a dummy card or just a regular rare card, and as a result of that, you know, what people would think was just a printing error, or hey, I got a holo in this white pack, in this white code card pack, was actually meant to be a far more rare card. And so, you know, unless there's a full kind of investigatory report released and it kind of highlights like where and how these cards were stolen in the process, there's a good chance we'll never really know. Now, the other thing that I thought was really interesting is, finally, due to the fact that these cards were seized by someone on behalf of TCPI, meaning someone who works for the Pokemon Card Company, took the cards away from the shop when they reported it, there's a good chance that they were destroyed. So all the cards that you've seen, and this is something that I haven't seen covered all that crazy much, but all the cards that you're seeing in this image are likely cards that have been shredded, incinerated, etc., etc. And the reason that is because if you dump that many cards off to the wayside, there's a good chance it's just gonna completely kind of do a weird thing in the market. Now, on this channel, I'm a big believer, and I always advocate, the Pokemon Company does not make any money from the secondary market. The only thing they ever make money on is when they sell a pack of sealed trading cards or a sealed product to you. You buying the same card on TCG Player does not include a commission to the Pokemon Trading Card Game Company. So I don't necessarily think that the reason they would have destroyed these cards is to affect market value in the future, because I just don't see a use case where Pokemon is that concerned about the secondary market. What I do think happens is that because these cards are so rare, maybe the Pokemon company will just decide, yeah, just destroy them. Like, if we can validate and verify that this did not alter the seeding of other packs, and that, you know, every single pack that should have had one, and this is just a weird cluster, it's probably safe to destroy them. Otherwise, there is potentially an argument that these should either be given away in promo packs or something of the sort. Obviously, they're not going to make a new product just to put a couple thousand cards in there, but, you know, they may come up with one way or the other to kind of circulate these back into the market some way, somehow. I just don't know what that is. Now, some really interesting things that are also being said about this actually come from the trading card store or shop that returned the product. So here is the post, and again, this is on Reddit, so I will actually go ahead and include this as a link down below that you can read on your own time. But this is actually from the shop, so it's called TCW, reminds me of ECW from back in the day, and they kind of outline some of the story of what happened, which is really cool. So, step one, this was originally posted on Facebook, by the way, is that they're approached by an individual inquiring if we were interested in purchasing hits from the set. So, you know, basically, like, sometimes they're big openers, they open up thousands of packs, the equivalent of hundreds of booster boxes, and yeah, sometimes they have a ton of hits and they want to sell them in bulk. So they review some pictures from the seller and advise that they were either fake or stolen because of the sheer volume of packs that it would have required to obtain the quantity of hits. So it seemed clear that one or the other was true. The seller explained his connection to the source, and TCW immediately contacted Pokemon through proper channels. The information went up to the corporate ladder given the seriousness of the situation, and a high-ranking Pokemon official, Lieutenant Surge, I can confirm this independently, contacted TCW. The Pokemon Corp and TCW work closely together to retrieve and return the cards. Pokemon Corp acknowledges TCW for their critical contribution to the recovery of the stolen items. It was the largest return of stolen property to date, and I actually have some really interesting analysis that I'll share on the back end of this video that actually might back that up. TCW was asked to keep this information confidential while an active investigation was underway with respect to that request. TCW has kept the story and their important involvement out of the spotlight. And yeah, that's where we are right now. So this is super, super interesting because, you know, obviously, whether it comes directly from TCW or is confirmatory in one way or the other, the main thing is that we have a good idea of what happened now, right? So, of course, if we dive a little bit deeper on Reddit, you also have the wonderful photo, the one that broke it all. So this is Guava Wave 2 days ago. You can see here, I'm going to be releasing this the afternoon after I record it, so at that point it'll only be 3 days old, but here is the glorious, glorious image. So if we, you know, really take a look at it, you see a ton of rainbow rares out here in the back where my mouse is, and rainbow rares, for what it's worth, they're not the most expensive card. So, you know, in all fairness, they're very good hits to get because you're usually only getting 1, maybe 2 in a booster box, and you can see here that they have an entire like rack of them. But I think the most important stuff is not here, but is literally relegated to this little area right here. And here's why that is the case. So I did a little bit of guesstimating and a little bit of pseudoscience in order to get some meaningful thoughts around the picture we're looking at and actually how serious this is. Up till now, I haven't been made aware of another kind of content creator attempting to do something like this, probably with just cause, but I decided, hey, why not? So the regular Pokemon card, meaning the Pokemon cards you're seeing on the table, are 2.5 inches wide. That's important. Why is that important? Because that width is actually represented right here in this box. So this box is basically just a rack of Pokemon cards laying on their side. And again, we confirm that the side is then the height, which is 2.5 inches tall. Every stack of alternate art cards is either above that height, or if you took some of the cards from another stack, would easily go above that height while maintaining the height of the other stacks. So I did a quick guesstimate analysis based on that, just wanting to see, you know, what the potential was here for the number of cards. Now, if you're a person who's a fan of bulk, specifically if you open up a lot of Pokemon cards, occasionally you will have to turn in your bulk to a trading card store and they give you store credit. You can buy more stuff with it. One of the most common ways of returning bulk is in a priority mail USPS box like this one that you're seeing on screen. It measures 6 inches tall and it can fit 450 cards in that 6-inch tall box. And so I figured, if we were looking at 2.5 inches in height, and we know each and every single stack is well above 2.5 inches tall, we can reasonably say each stack is about 3 inches tall. Because again, if you're looking at those Espeon stacks, there's one that looks like it's right about the same height, maybe a little lower. But realistically, you could take cards from these first 2 stacks, drop them into this 3rd stack, and all of them would be 3 inches tall. And that same analysis holds true for each and every single one of these. The lowest one I see is the Gengar alternate arts right here, and these are really, really tall stacks. So I think these could easily make 3 inches tall worth of cards each and every single time. So where does that put us? We know that in a priority mail box, 6 inches of cards is about 450 cards. That means 3 inches of cards is approximately 225 cards. So we now have a rough estimate as to how many alternate arts are on this table if we wanted to make some assumptions and, you know, assume every math I'm doing is down to the millimeter. Now, with that said, if you were to go and start looking at some of the stacks here, we've got 3 stacks of Inteleon. An Inteleon card right now, and I'm just picking the, you know, big number that's on TCG Player as of tonight, is $25.79. If we're guessing that there's about 675 cards here, meaning there's about 225 in each stack, you're talking 17,000 $408 in value right here, sitting in what is easily one of the more affordable cards that is on the table right now that is an alternate art card. But wait, it gets so much worse. Let's look at the Mews. I see 2 stacks of Mews, again, at 3 inches tall each. We're talking at least 450 cards, 2 stacks of 250. Mew is an $81 card right now, so that's another $36,571 in value sitting right there. And immediately you might say, wow, Ryan, that is a lot of money. And I would say, yes, that is a lot of money. That's $53,000, nearly $54,000 in actual US value. But wait, my friends, it gets so much worse. There are 3 stacks of Gengar cards, and again, assuming they're each 3 inches tall, translates to roughly 225 cards each. 3 times 225 is 625. Each of those cards is worth $162.98, and wouldn't you know it, we have a wonderful, a very crisp $110,000 sitting right there in that corner. When I first did the math on this, I really didn't know what to believe. I didn't think it was true. I didn't know how it could possibly be true. But after confirming the math and calling up an actual math professor in order to confirm that I was not forgetting how to do basic mathematics, yes, I can confirm that is $100,000 in value in the literal upper part of this image. And then, in case you were curious, the Espeon is $169.97, and there's 3 stacks of 675 cards, so yeah, another $114,000. In total, if you add up all of the cards, just the alternate arts, you're looking at $278,721 in value, just in the alternate art cards that are visible on screen that we can confirm and say are in fact alternate art cards. If you were then thinking that some portion of these hits right here, where that bag of card savers, or it looks like penny sleeves, are, you might be looking at double that value. Now, for today's video, I'm going to go ahead and assume everything is on wholesale value. So I'm going to go ahead and say I did my math wrong, and I'm going to go ahead and take off half of the value, right? I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, it wasn't 278,000. It was, you know, closer to like $140. Still $140,000 in value. Hey, let's say Ryan was really wrong and actually messed up the math so bad that he's only 10% right. 10% of $278,000 is still $27,000 in value in trading cards on that table, excluding all of the rainbow rares and all of the other cards that we can't see and can't dedicatedly say aren't more expensive Espeons, Gengars, and Mews. So, where does that leave us? Well, in a bit of a conundrum, because that is a lot of money. And that's why I think Pokemon was very quick to say thank you so much, because this was a lot of money. If I'm even remotely close to the estimates that I made, this was a lot of aftermarket value that Pokemon is probably using to justify the claim that this is the largest return of stolen property that exists. Now, for the people out there who might want to throw some, flags at my math, the other thing to bear in mind is that depending on who you ask, anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000 cards were apparently stolen as a part of this, little sick lick over here. In the cards that I counted at the estimates that I made, it's only 2,400 cards. It's 2,475 cards in total that I was able to identify. So even on the lower end, I would think there's at least 6,000 to 10,000 cards on this table. which just kind of goes to show you exactly how much money was spent. And it's something that Redditors were probably quickly able to pick up on. There's at least 200K worth of value there. Yeah, they're absolutely right. I think I was able to prove within reason there's about $280,000 in value right there. And, you know, I assume there's about 1,000 Espeon and Gengar. Yeah, I was able to count about 1,350 Gengar and Espeons there. So, you know, that's just my guess. But that just kind of goes to show you the scope and scale of something like this. One last article before we move to wrap up, friends. Here is yet another bit of coverage, this one on Kotaku. And yeah, another article kind of summarizing much of the same picture. And yeah, it's just absolutely insane. Here is the one thing that I wanted to show you that kind of serves as a little bit more confirmatory stuff. This data was collected by TCG Player over 4,000 Fusion Strike cards, and what they found is they were only able to pull 2 Mews, about 3 Espeons, and about 4 Gengars. What that probably indicates is that it kind of confirms the theory that there is borderline an impossibility that these were legitimately obtained. They're cards, they're right there in front of us, and they're, you know, for all intents and purposes, we're going to assume real. And if they are in fact real, based on what the seller was saying, as well as just the fact that, you know, at a very high level they look to appear legit, then you're talking probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of probabilities in order to get what you're seeing on screen right now. And what that makes me fearful of is what even goes on at the Pokemon Company. But that is a conversation for another day, and that is a conversation that I plan to have in the next video. But in the meantime, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you enjoyed today's coverage. I hope you got some value out of the analysis, just to kind of put things into perspective as to how crazy this news actually is. It's a significant amount of value that I think is tied up here, and a lot of people might be grossly underestimating that. So hopefully this helps to recontextualize the image you're looking at and what it could actually mean for people. Other than that, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, hey, consider subscribing. It's the greatest way to help support the channel and helps me know that you guys like content like this. And other than that, friends, thanks again for stopping by, and we will talk soon. Peace.